So, today we're going to talk about the Indian Removal Act, right? We'll get back to this in a minute, okay? Let's read, shall we? Indian Removal Act of 1830 was a law signed by President Andrew Jackson on May 28, 1830, that authorized the forced relocation of Native American tribes from their ancestral homelands in the eastern United States to Indian Territory, which is now Oklahoma. Now, between 1830 and 1850, the act led to relocation of roughly 100,000 Native Americans, including members of the Chickasaw, Muskogee, Seminole, Chickasaw, and Choctaw nations. Many were treated brutally, and some were transported in chains. Now let's go to the Indian Removal Act Reclassification. So now those Indians who decided to stay on their lands were reclassified as Negro. This prohibited the Indian Removal Act and reclassification. Through the tactics were employed, the lynching of the Jim Crow South enforced the reclassification from Indians to Black Americans. Now, what happened after that? You guys think anybody tried to challenge that act? Of course they did. Let's read. How the Indian Removal Act was challenged. The Cherokee used the U.S. legal system to fight against the removal. Though they won, their case, the Supreme Court Jackson, the U.S. military did not honor that decision. Surprise, surprise. Now, the Trail of Tears, the things you guys love to talk about. How did the Removal Act cause the Trail of Tears? The Removal Act caused the Trail of Tears. During the fall of winter 1838 and 1839, the Cherokees were forcefully moved west by the United States government. Approximately 4,000 Cherokees died on this forced march. Okay, we getting somewhere. Now let's read this little part right here. It says, the act was applied to the 5 civilized tribes, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Creek, and Seminole, who had to some degree assimilated into the white European culture. The act gave the president the authority to negotiate treaties with the tribes, but in practice, the tribes were often concerned into migrating. The Choctaws were first tribe to sign a treaty and voluntarily relocate in September 1830. But thousands of members of the tribes were forcefully removed, with many dying during the Trail of Tears. The Trail of Tears is now a national historic trail that stretches from Tennessee to Oklahoma, and the chronicles of the removal of the Cherokee from 1838 to 1839. This part right here. The act also reclassified Native Americans who choose to stay on their lands as Negroes. This reclassification was enforced by the lynching of Jim Crow South, which resulted in Native Americans being classified as Black Americans. This young lady, this is her paper. She wrote a history paper. She's a history major. So this man, Carlos, is in the military, and he's a general, and he's a historian. The Negro type is seen in most of ancient Mexican sculpture. The Negroes figure frequently in the most remote traditions of some American pueblos. It is to this race doubtably belongs to the most ancient skeletons. It is likely that we repeat America was a Negro continent. In her article, she talks about Chief Warhouse. So I looked her up. Chief Ellen Warhouse, queen of, I do not want to mispronounce their nation, my apologies. This is actually her, and she says that when the French, Europeans, and Spaniards arrived on the American shore, they saw Black Indians trading. Though they described them as red copper colored, it even documented that earlier voyagers who came to America journaled that they encountered Ethiopians, or people who looked to be. Now I want y'all to look at these numbers, because it's a little confusing, no? Because don't they say 1867? That was supposedly And the Indian Removal Act was in 1830. Let's read this one more time. So now those Indians who decided to stay on their land were reclassified as Negro. This propaganda, the Indian Removal Act, and reclassification, though other tactics were employed. The lynching of Jim Crow South enforced the reclassification from Indians to Black Americans. Something off. Something is off. Now, back to the beginning of the video, right? Creek Indian removal. You see that? Black Warriors Path played a critical role. Where? I don't see nothing about a slave. Nothing about a slave. Not just that, let's take a look at these numbers, right? When did this say it happened? 1835. 1835 were Black Indians being removed. So what the fuck is this story? I'm gonna keep bringing this up. I don't care. Get mad. We own the most property in America. Quote unquote African Americans. You guys have a nice day, because I know I will.